Let's get some business reaction now to the visit by the Chinese Premier. I'm joined by Willox. He's the CEO of the Australian Industry Group. It's been a really significant rebound we've seen in the numbers of terms of exports to China. How would you characterise the relationship right now?
Hi, Kieran. Well, the relationship is better than it was. Let's be clear about that. In an economic sense, it's improved quite clearly from where it was 2 to 3 years ago. But there's still a lot of fragility there. I don't think we should kid ourselves that everything is completely hunky-dory. A lot of Australian businesses are, with the support of the government, are going through a process which is around trying to find new markets and new sources. They're trying to sort of diversify away from China. We still have a huge reliance on China. It's about, makes up about 25% of different parts of our economy, which is a huge reliance on one single market. And despite, how good it was, from an economic sense to see the two sides talking yesterday, you sort of came away from all those gatherings realising that perhaps just as much as ever, it's very much still a transactional relationship between Australia and China, and it won't take much for things to be blown off course again. So that's something business is very aware of, certainly since what happened sort of through the COVID times and before and just after.
The growth, even during the problematic years, though, that's been that's what surprised me. The level of growth in dollar terms, it's continued even with a few of those industries obviously hit hard, like wine, like beef, and others. But more broadly, the numbers continue to grow.
A lot of that's commodities, obviously, and that's, it's good in the short term, but it has long-term implications, and you have to ask how long will that last. There's some estimates kicking around that by 2030, China could be sort of very much reducing their reliance on us for commodities, on coal, iron ore, and the like, as they stockpile, and also as they sort of themselves diversify their markets for those commodities. So, it's terrific for our terms of trade, but overall, I mean, we still see, bans on some parts of the Australian economy. Lobsters, for instance, are still not allowed into China at the moment. There's still some restrictions on beef. The wine sector is still trying to make up some ground, and that will take a long time to do, given the impact that the China bans had on them. So right across the economy, there's still that, I would hesitate to use it, but I will use it, some wariness about the relationship and where it goes into the future. There's always great concerns around the security issues that came up in the conversations yesterday, regional and beyond, and how that picks up. There's uncertainty too, Kieran, around what happens should a President Trump be re-elected and start to impose big tariffs around the world, how China reacts, and then where we get caught up in that. And that's a little bit of what happened last time as we went through the end of the last decade. We became collateral damage, as I warned, as we warned, in a much broader sort of trade war that was going on.
It seems, though, according to a number of analysts, of what you're seeing at the moment with China and this visit, and the wolf warrior diplomacy's gone, the panda diplomacy's back. It seems that they're wanting to inoculate themselves potentially against a Trump presidency and some of those trade moves that he might make. So strengthening the trade and bilateral relationships with countries like Australia to help do that.
Well, for sure. I think that's the really positive thing, is that the sort of the immediate heat has gone out of the relationship, that we went through, and now we're at a point where both sides are talking again. We are living in a very volatile world, and China, as well as Australia, is looking for ways to try to smooth out that volatility. The language has definitely moderated. The request to sort of shelve our differences was noticeable. We would all like that. Business would like very much stability in the relationship to get us through, what is a pretty tough period for our economy here. It's the last thing we need is for for our biggest export market to turn against us again. So that's really pleasing. But, we were all very aware of recent history and pretty, wary, as I said, around what could be around the corner from things that are external to the direct Australian-China relationship, which could impact us.
Innes Willox from AIG, thanks as always. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Kieran. You take care.